Coach, could you speak to the possibility of Shedeur being coached by Kellen Moore, who's coached Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, and recently?
Say it again.
Speak to the possibility of Shedeur being
Where's that?
coached.
The what?
Yes, sir.
The Saints?
Yes, sir.
I like the colors. I like the colors. I like the city. I like the food. I like the people. I like the possibilities.
Thank you.
All right. Those are the words of University of Colorado football team's head coach primetime Deion Sanders, when asked by Adam West, co-host of the Saints Blocks Party podcast. Shouts out to them. Shouts out to independent media for stepping up and having the opportunity to be in places like this. But Adam West did ask Deion Sanders on the possibility, the idea of um, Shedeur Sanders, his son, being coached by Kellen Moore, and the Kellen Moore's track record of working with NFL quarterbacks, young NFL quarterbacks in the past, Dak Prescott, um, you know, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts recently, and Coach Prime pretty much give his seal of approval on Shedeur coming to the New Orleans Saints and being their quarterback of the future. He just, pretty much confirmed it right there. So, to me, I think, reality is starting to sit in with Coach Prime in regards to his son's NFL future. His NFL future, I felt as though all along that he was going to, as we get closer to the draft, the combine and the pro days and things like that, I felt as though Deion was going to like turn it down a notch, a lot. And prior to this, like a few months ago, when they were still, playing college football, Deion was talking about how his son was gonna pull an Eli Manning and not go to certain places and things like that. But I think, as reality started to sit in and the possibilities of where Shedeur really was going to be placed, be selected. I think he just kind of dialed back on that rhetoric, But Deion is 100% confident in his son and his son's ability to turn around an NFL franchise. Just the things he have said about him, recently. You know what I'm saying? And I told y'all this in another video. It's almost certain that the New Orleans Saints will be in the market to, or in the market, or in the idea, or in the mind frame of finding that quarterback of the future in this draft or next year's draft. It's looking more and more likely that they're gonna find that guy. They're gonna attempt to try to find that guy in this year's draft with that top 10 pick they have. The pick right now is at 9. Yesterday, pretty Adam Schefter, I believe it was Adam Schefter that put out this information about the Cleveland Browns or the New York Giants may not. It's looking likely that those two teams will not be taking a quarterback at their current selections. Browns pick at 2, Giants at 3. The Giants signed Russell Wilson and former Saints QB Jameis Winston. So you got 2 starters on your roster. The Browns traded for Kenny Pickett, and they believe that there's some talk that the possibility that Kenny Pickett could be the Cleveland Browns starting quarterback. But I think personally that they're gonna figure out a way to go get Falcons backup quarterback Kirk Cousins in a trade, soon. So we just gotta wait and see how that's all gonna play out. But I think it's more than likely. Looking more likely that the Saints are going to take a quarterback at 9 in the upcoming NFL draft. That's if the team like the New York Jets don't have any ideas of taking a quarterback. They signed Justin Fields, but according to what I've read, is that there's a chance that they could be looking at a quarterback as well. But we'll see how we'll see how that's going to play out. The Raiders is most likely not going to take a quarterback because they traded for Geno Smith, and then they just signed Geno Smith to an extension. So they're pretty much set on their guy right now. So that just leaves the New Orleans Saints as the next team that's gonna be looking for a quarterback. And right now is the talk is right now that Shedeur Sanders could be a sure thing at pick number 9. You know, so I don't have an issue with it. I don't have an issue with the Saints taking a quarterback, even if it was Jackson Dart. I trust Kellen Moore's judgment at evaluating quarterbacks. He knows way more than me. He's a former NFL quarterback, a former, a very successful college football quarterback. Was the son of a head coach. Got a track record of working with quarterbacks, working with really good quarterbacks. Justin Herbert, Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts. So he knows what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? The only difference is that he is the top guy. He is the team. He has to oversee the offense, the quarterback position, the defense, special team. He's in charge of the entire operation now, compared to his previous stops where he was just the offensive coordinator. You know, that's just the only difference. But I don't have an issue with the pick, man. I don't have an issue with the pick. And to me, I think the sooner that you can get a quarterback in the building and develop him to take over, the better. Do it while you still have Derek Carr in your books. Where this ain't me saying get rid of Derek Carr because you got Shedeur or Jackson Dart, but keep Derek Carr as your bridge and let the incoming guy learn under him. And I know the Saints want to compete for the NFC South. That's fine and all, but you still have to think about your future beyond Derek Carr. You know what I'm saying? Do something that Sean Payton failed to do with Drew Brees, and that's finding not while he was competing. You're trying to contend to win the Super Bowl and all that. You really didn't think about your future. You didn't try to go out there and find your quarterback of the future. Yeah, I know that they had the whole mashup with Patrick Mahomes and all that other stuff that fell through. But outside of that, the Saints didn't really do anything. You know, and this is why the Saints are in the predicament they're in right now. But you have a chance to correct that. Let Derek Carr play this year out, try to win the NFC South, but have Shedeur waiting in the wings. And then next year, I think you've been a whole lot better situation, in my opinion, at your quarterback position. Because I think Shedeur is that guy, man. Shedeur is that guy at quarterback, man. Because at Colorado, he didn't have a really good offensive line. Didn't really have a really good running game. Colorado has struggled to run the football since Coach Prime took over. But that says something right now. You put up those type of numbers, um, in those conditions. That says a lot about a franchise quarterback. Now, I hope that once you get to New Orleans, that those issues are still the case. Hopefully, we have a running game. Hopefully, the offensive line is squared away by that time. You know, but I don't have an issue with this, man. I don't have an issue with the Saints taking a quarterback at 9. I don't. 9 or 40. I don't matter. It don't matter if it's Jackson Dart or Shedeur Sanders. But the optics is telling us that the Saints are in the quarterback market. The Saints are seriously in the quarterback market. They've met with Kyle McCord. They've had multiple meetings with Quinn Ewers out of Texas. They've met with Will Howard. They've met with Jackson Dart. They've met with Shedeur Sanders. They've talked to Cam Ward. They've gone out to dinner with quite a few of these guys, of the prospects. You know, and maybe it's all just a smokescreen. Who knows? But if it's not, then oh well. If Jackson Dart's the guy at 9, then Jackson Dart's the guy at 9. If it's Shedeur Sanders at 9, then so be it. But the Saints on the quarterback business for this upcoming NFL draft. And I think the sooner you get this guy in the building to learn the offense, learn the system, the better for the long run. Because if you get this quarterback position down pat, you get it right, you go into next year's draft, and hopefully you can address another glaring hole in the team. You know, but we gotta wait and see how it's all gonna play out, man. We got a couple more weeks until the draft. Draft is at the end of the month. We're gonna finally get to find out who the Saints really got their eyes set on. Right now, it's just a lot of hearsay, a lot of rumors being put out, a lot of smoke screens. It could be very difficult to tell what the Saints are gonna do around draft time. I think they're one of the most unpredictable teams um, around this time of the year because they could move up in the draft and get somebody else, or they could stay put and draft somebody that you never heard of, or they could have interest in a player that you didn't think they have interest in and try to move up to get him. You never know with the New Orleans Saints, man. So stay posted, man, and just be patient. So there's that. But shouts out to Adam West and Ryan of the Saints Block Party podcast for asking that question, for putting that information out, for putting out this content. So Coach Prime pretty much gave his seal of approval of his son coming to New Orleans to be the Saints quarterback of the future. So there's that. All right, so that's y'all for right now, man. Give me a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Let me know how you feel. How do you feel about the Saints taking Shedeur Sanders at 9? How do you feel about the Saints possibly taking Jackson Dart at 9? Do you think they're first round picks? Do you think they're second round picks? What do you think the Saints should do at pick 9 in the 2025 NFL draft? Have a blessed day. Peace. I'm out. Who that?